American cities are so out of control that the Mexican government is now using video of homeless people in Philadelphia in a new anti-drug ad. Mexico is using it to scare kids there. But of course, the Philly's Democrat mayor's office blamed the opioid crisis as part of an international epidemic. He said it's always hard to see our city's people and neighborhoods portrayed in a limited and negative light. No neighborhood and no person should be defined by this tragic and widespread crisis. And if that's not enough, here's a statistic for you. 1 out of 179 Americans will eventually be murdered over the course of their lifetimes if the country's murder rate remains at 2020 levels, according to a new study. That is a pretty startling statistic, but as we were talking in the commercial break, it's over the course of a lifetime. And but anyway, it's a number that can scare you.
Can you lower it if you're the murderer?
What?
Can you lower it if you're the murderer? Yes. I'm trying
Your chances?
Yeah, my chances are I would rather be the murderer. I don't know. You know, this is another example of Mexicans coming here and taking our jobs, right? We're the ones who are supposed to say how bad Philly is, not Mexico. But there was another side to this story that was really amazing. People were upset that they didn't get the consent from the people being filmed.
Wow.
And I'm thinking to myself, sorry, did the drug-addicted zombie get, your consent when they defecated in front of a packed school bus? I think that goes out the window when their stuff is going out of their bodies on a sidewalk. But it says something now that our country is a cautionary warning. We are now the S-hole country, right? I don't see a way out until we have legal alternatives for our own oblivion.
What did you think of this video, Katie?
I think it's embarrassing that a country like Mexico, which is ravished with, crime, cartel crime, because of the drug trade in Mexico, is now using this as a warning. It's horrible. It's largely preventable. And even though we're being embarrassed on a national or international scale, people in Philadelphia the leadership in Philadelphia isn't really willing to do anything about it. And they act like the people in that video who are on the streets, that it's the humane thing to do to allow them to continue living that way. Generally speaking, I think Mexico has done very little to prevent what's happening in American cities. There, you see people coming over, drugs coming over. You see the Mexican side of the border doing nothing to stop it. You see them working with China to continue to traffic these drugs into the United States. So it's embarrassing, and the people in charge in Philadelphia and other cities in America have the power to change things, and they refuse to.
Do they have a drug problem in Mexico, as in users?
Not so bad, apparently.
They just make a lot of money.
Yeah. What about hometown feelings there, Jesse?
I'm not proud of that moment, and I don't like the fact that Mexico is targeting my hometown, but it is Mexico. And Katie said it. Come on. We're talking about Mexico here. It's not like Canada is saying this. It's Mexico.
Right.
I like Mexico over. I'll take Mexico over Canada.
To do what? Vacation? So would I.
Everything. I don't like. Yeah, Trudeau.
What do you think the murder rate is in Mexico compared to Canada?
Oh, I don't know.
What are your chances of being murdered?
Probably a lot worse in Mexico.
Can we get a statistic check from the brain room on that, please?
30,000 murders a year in Mexico.
Wow.
Yep.
A little bit more on Philly. The mayor says, of course, they think they need to do more, but what are they waiting for?
Well, he has to decide what he wants to do. I mean, do you just want to let them just kill themselves in the streets of North Philadelphia? Do you want to let them just shoot up drugs and not arrest them? Do you want to just give them needles? Do you want to have maybe a government operated safe injection site? Because that's where we're heading. That's where we're heading. You can set up a tent site. You can be naked.
That doesn't work.
And then you could just shoot drugs and be on drugs and probably get hit by cars. And they're not really policing this area. If you've noticed, this whole area is an unpoliced zone. It's kind of like south side of Chicago. So and North Philly is very similar. It's like you have this massive expanse of row homes that's unpoliced because it's very hard to police these types of neighborhoods because, it's hard to see around corners. The row homes are all connected. You can have guys run on rooftops. A lot of times you can go underneath. And so they don't police them. And then they just respond to gunfire. And that's not proactive policing. And they've given up the war on drugs. We're doing a story tonight or tomorrow night on Jesse Watters Primetime. There's a DEA agent who's just admitted to skimming millions of dollars of cash seizures from his work in Central and South America and spending it at strip clubs and going on rides on yachts and buying his girlfriend an engagement ring from Tiffany's. And there's not only he's involved, there's federal prosecutors, former federal prosecutors involved. The whole thing looks like the war on drugs is a joke, and federal law enforcement guys are just making money off of it and using it to buy strippers.
What do you make of all of it, Jessica?
A couple of things. A large chunk of this ad is focused on fentanyl and how highly addictive it is. And I thought that that was just such a low blow because they blatantly know where the fentanyl is coming from at this point. I mean, you're hard-pressed to find fentanyl in America that didn't come from Mexico first, or I should say China first and then via Mexico. It felt even more aggressive to me than just being about Philadelphia. And we'll see if there will be changes because Josh Shapiro, who's the new governor of Pennsylvania, has gone after the DA in Philly and said that it can't stay this way. And so we'll see if something changes. But this almost seemed like a hit against the whole country and the Biden administration, right? Yeah. This is an ad that came out right around his essentially re-election, right? So Democrats took control of the Senate, have held on better than everyone thought in terms of the House, only going to be a couple of seats down. And to throw this into the ecosphere at this particular moment felt more thought out than just a random.
Ultra MAGA Mexico?
Sure. Yeah. Do you think that the Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris, called her Mexican counterpart and said, knock it off?
Nope. I would hope so.
I doubt it.
Okay, but I would still hope
Maybe
so.
she will now.
I won't bet you, but I doubt it.
Yeah, you can't afford to keep betting the liberals.
That's true.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.